Hey there, everyone, and welcome to Facebook Live. This is Brenda Rogers. I'm a health coach, women's health coach, and the owner of Quintessence Women's Health. Lots of you I know out there already. And I wanted to talk to you today about a detox. I'm running an online challenge detox in March. And I think it's about the right time because we've kind of gotten over Christmas, the kids are back at school, we've settled down, and then we're starting to think about ourselves. And so March is a great time to think about our own health and what we can do to improve. And I just wanted to bust a couple of myths about dieting or detoxing so that you can actually get excited about it rather than thinking, oh no, I've got to give up everything. First of all, a couple of myths that I want to bust, and that is, do you really have to give up all the food groups in order to detoxify? And sorry, I'm just seeing lots of hearts going up. So the answer is no, you don't. So I follow the ancestral diet, the wise traditions diet. And all traditional cultures had some form of grass or grain in their diet, some form of meat or animal protein, animal fats, as well as vegetables and fruit, nuts and seeds, and so on. So if we mimic today what has worked for our ancestors for millennia, then we can start to see that it's more about how foods are processed than the actual food itself that's important. So for this is a topic for another day, but I've got in the kitchen fermenting some sourdough rye, because that fermenting sourdoughing process helps to partly digest the proteins in grains and some of those and to neutralize some of those anti-nutrients in grains so that we can tolerate them much better. Same with dairy. We know that yogurt is partly pre-digested and so is much more easily tolerated by adults. Now, the thing about having, and this connects with the next myth really about whether you just have to eat vegetables for 2 weeks in order to detoxify. Well, no, you don't. First of all, vegetables are actually harder to digest than meats and fats, and that's because they contain fiber and other things that make it more difficult for them to pass through the digestive tract, believe it or not. Also, fruits with the skins can also be very difficult to digest, so having fruit without the skin, or just, making sure that vegetables are properly prepared, doesn't have to all be raw, in order for us to get those nutrients out of those foods. So we actually need to support our liver in the function that it naturally does in order to detoxify. So the liver will do its job. It is doing its job. It doesn't need a detox to be able to do that. Yes, it helps to minimize all of those things that are putting a load on the liver, so too much coffee or too many packaged foods, too much sugar. But the body will do the detoxing that it needs to do by itself. What we want to do is make sure that we include foods in our diet that contain the nutrients the body needs in abundance to detoxify properly. Now, one of those nutrients is sulfur, and sulfur you do find in meats. It's part of sulfur containing amino acids, and protein is absolutely essential for detoxifying. So I believe that natural whole protein like fish and chicken and beef in appropriate amounts is way more beneficial to the body than a protein powder based on soy, for example. So coming back to natural, super, super important. Also, you can find sulfur in things like garlic and onions and some nuts. So and legumes. So, and vegetables, other vegetables like your cabbages. Now, these can be hard to digest, so we need to prepare them in a way, like perhaps fermenting them in the form of sauerkraut with our cabbage. And this, thinking like this, will not only help our bodies detoxify, it will nourish our body, so every function in the body works really well. And also this detoxing will naturally occur. And that's what we want. We want to support ourselves with this nutrient density. And then so many of the things that are normal functioning in our body come back to normal, come back to full functioning. So there's a little myth busting for you. You don't have to drink carrot and beetroot juice for 2 weeks in order to detoxify. You don't need to avoid grains, avoid meat, avoid dairy in order to be healthy. But you want to know how to have those things in your diet so that your digestive system is able to absorb the nutrients out of those things. And that's really the topic of my 14-day Detox and Nourish online challenge coming up on the 9th of March. And I'd like to invite you to get curious about that and to consider doing it, especially if you've been in the past cutting back your food groups. And let's face it, a slice of delicious homemade bread with organic butter is nothing beats it, right? And why should we deny ourselves the pleasure of these things? Well, we often deny ourselves the pleasure because it doesn't work well on our bodies. But imagine you could have it back and your body actually likes it and your body gets those nutrients out of it that it needs. So 14-day Detox and Nourish online challenge coming soon. There will be more details on this Facebook page, on my other Facebook pages, and also a website that you can go to, and I will put that link below so that you can find out more information. If you're interested and need to ask me questions, then post them below or email me at brenda@qwomen.com.au. That's qwomen.com.au. And I'd love to help you out with that. And I'm always available at the end of the phone if you'd like to chat. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, and thank you for your company.